What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza, here with a brand new video for all you rascals and rapscallions out there. Now, if you guys see my last video, me and Nick Baker actually went and reviewed Halloween in the movie theaters. I'm bringing Nick Baker up because he says he hates my intro where I say, "It's your boy," because it's too generic YouTube. And I said, man, I'm too far into this shit to change it. It's what I say, so fuck you, Nick Baker. But I'm just kidding. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video we did together, that collab. We actually have something in the very near future. I plan on releasing another collab on his channel and one with him on mine. So stay tuned for that. But as for today's video, I want to give a quick little review of 1981's slasher, Don't Go in the Woods Alone, directed by James Bryan. Now, what really had me intrigued on this one is this is actually one of the original video nasties that was released in the 80s. A bunch of horror movies and whatnot were banned in England in the 1980s and labeled video nasties for various reasons. Some were, very, very graphic, and some were not. Just the name alone, various reasons where they thought they were inappropriate for people to watch. And though I've seen much gorier, much worse, I do see where they were coming from on this one. This has a really high kill count. I would say maybe about 15 people die in this movie, so that's a lot because it only runs about an hour and 21 minutes. But yeah, I actually watched this last night for the very first time, and it was something, I'll tell you that. I don't normally like to have negative reviews on my channel. That's why, I made this new little review channel. I do the classic horror review of my favorites, and then I'll just review, give my opinion, whatever, shorter reviews, and this is one of them. So I'll give you a little plot. If there is one, there's really no plot in this. It's four campers walking around in these woods, and this madman comes and starts slaying everyone, all these people that are showing up. And then the sheriff and the deputy get involved, and they have a search party looking for this maniac and all that. And that's really about as far as the plot goes. And I can hear you guys saying now, like, but Ray, isn't that all Friday the 13th movies are about? And I'm going to say no, because I just got that Scream Factory box set, and I've been watching the Friday the 13th. So though there are a lot of copycat movies, granted this came out in 81, nothing can touch the original Friday the 13th, because though it is the same thing with Jason killing over and over again, there is a lot of plot and character development through the series. There's a lot more details on Jason and whatnot, and yeah, that's my rant. I want to say this one does not have that. And though you guys know I love the kills, there's more to that than me. There's this movie, there's no plot. I absolutely hate the characters. They're terrible. You don't like them. They're not interesting at all. I can appreciate a film for what they're going for, especially on a shoestring budget, but just a boring movie. I mean, there's a lot of kills. Like, there's probably a kill every 5 minutes in this movie. But in between that, it's just the killer stalking out people from his point of view. The four campers just walking through these woods, and they're not interesting, so the dialogue isn't funny, isn't good. And then we get a kind of off-screen kill, and then it'll go back to walking through the woods again. And like I said, these characters are terrible. One thing I like about the Friday the 13th movies, for the most part, every movie I like the characters. But yeah, this one was just pretty crappy. And let me talk about this killer. Like, he's definitely, like, one of a kind. It's just like this big bearded guy, and he looks like a combination, like he looks like a Viking. He looks like a combination, if you're a wrestling fan, he looks like Mantar and the Berserker put together. And it's really weird. There's just so much to take in. He's got all these gimmicks on him and everything, and this big wooden, like, spear and everything, or metal spear with fur on it and everything. I mean, so I like what they were going for. It just didn't hit for me. And the soundtrack was kind of weird with a lot of the synth. And I understand this is like a movie people talk about, it's so bad it's good. And I understand how people can see that, but I am kind of a snob when it comes to horror movies. I've realized in the past couple years, where like I don't like all horror. I don't like a lot of new stuff. I don't like really shitty horror. I have a certain taste, mostly 70s, 80s, 90s horror, and this one was just a bit off for me. And like, I don't know if it was like the lighting they used, or the time they chose to film, or the woods, but the woods were just kind of really bright, and it just was off vibe in the woods for me, and there was like no trails or paths. Like they're constantly just camping out, and walking through like full on hilltop woods, and yeah, it was strange. Just everyone getting killed off one by one. There's eventually two survivors. They go to the hospital, and then they end up running back to try to save the other friend. And yeah, there are some good things in here. Like I said, some people like movies that are so bad they're good, so this might be something you like. So like I said, there are some good stuff. Though a lot of these kills are off screen. Like the very first 3 minutes of the movie, you see like a bird watcher or something. He's out in the woods, and the killer comes and hacks his whole arm off with a machete, and they show it. And it's, it's cheap gore, but I like that shit. That was pretty funny. And then I was like, oh, this movie's about to be the shit. But it kind of drags on with a lot of this bullshit. Another funny moment that I liked was the main guy. He's like, he finds the other girl, and they're like being chased by the killer, and he's got this wooden spear he made, which is another, not to go off on a tangent, but another really stupid part of this movie. This dude is just like crawling around the woods with this wooden spear he made like the whole fucking movie. I'm like, this is lame. But so there's another hiker that shows up in the woods, and these guys are hiding behind this like log with this spear. And when the other camper comes up, the guy thinks it's the killer, and he jumps up and he stabs him right through the chest. And it's the funniest shit ever, because the acting is terrible. And he's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm like, that's not what you say when you stab someone in the chest. Like, it was just funny. Then the killer comes after them, and they go to take off running. And this part was funny too, because this lead guy is terrible. He says, the girl's name is Ingrid, I think, and the killer comes after the both of them. He goes, Ingrid, he's after you. Run. I was like, how sure are you that, man? I mean, these like spears are getting chucked at you in like in your pretty general direction. He just assumes he's after you. I go, I'm pretty sure you don't have enough information about the psychopathic sociopath killer that's chasing and murdering everyone in the woods just to think like he's coming after you. Man, bitch, run with your girl. Get the fuck out of the woods. I don't know. It's pretty funny. The actual second girl that they go back into the woods to try to find, that was a pretty cool kill where like they find this cabin in the woods where the killer is living. And this showed a little like fun part before that you don't see a lot in like movies like this. Like she finds like this bag and starts rummaging through it, and it's like this paper plate with like scraps of food on. She's just licking the plate, and I'm like, you don't see that too much in like survival kind of like films. Like granted they'll be like, we gotta go get supplies, but like just to show the desperation she had to eat, starving to death. So like I did kind of like that. And then she goes in the cabin looking for more stuff. She finds something in a box in there moving, which surprises her, which I won't spoil that. You're going to have to watch this piece of garbage by yourself to find out. But pretty gory kill here. They don't really show a lot of it. I mean, no penetration with the machete, but the killer gets her in the corner and he's just hacking her. And they're showing each slice, and she's getting bloodier and bloodier. And he was going at her for a good 30 seconds to a minute, just slashing her up. And so that was pretty impressive for a slasher movie. So that was pretty cool. So I mean, other than that, like I said, the pros and cons, the negatives, like, I didn't really like the way it was shot. It dragged on pretty long. The soundtrack wasn't good. The characters were boring and unlikable. The killer was just weird. I just couldn't get into it. Just couldn't get into this at all overall. Yeah, and I'm looking at the back, seeing this guy getting killed here, and that reminds me of another part in the movie where some random guy and his girlfriend get attacked by this killer, and the killer like ties her upside down in the sleeping bag and kills her by just like throwing debris at it. He's just throwing pieces of wood and rocks like at the sleeping bag upside down. I'm like, that's kind of weird. And the girl just dies. I'm like, oh okay. But so I told you the things I didn't like all the above. But the things I did like I said, there was a couple good kills with the arm getting chopped off, the massacre in the cabin. Oh, and there's a decapitation by a guy in a wheelchair at the end, but I don't really like how he got to that point, but that's a whole nother story. So that stuff wasn't bad. I can appreciate, the kill count, but other than the certain kills that were good, the high kill count, and maybe a couple things I found kind of funny, there's nothing really else I liked about this movie. But with that being said, this is a Vinegar Syndrome movie. They do good things, good releases. This is kind of a movie where, it wasn't available in England overall because of the Video Nasty label till 2007, and it just got a first Blu-ray release 5 years ago. So if I would recommend you buying this, it's kind of depends on your taste. Like, if you're a big horror fan like I am, I would say get it just to own a piece of history, because we don't know how long physical media will be around. I'd say, it's worth it to get it and check it out. And a lot of you guys might like that, because I've said before, like, I'm a fan of trauma and independent filmmaking, but I really can't get behind a lot of trauma movies. They're just too low budget and a little too weird and out there for me. And this movie, though it wasn't as wild as a trauma film, I've seen a lot of similarities in this. So if you're a fan of, like, so bad it's good, this would probably be something you would like. But, not really my style. So on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give this, okay, out of 1 to 5 crazy berserkers in the woods, I would give it 1 berserker out of 5. And I feel I'm being kind of generous, because I didn't enjoy this at all. But, for the kills, for the time it came out, the few graphic scenes there were, and the ambition for the budget they had, I don't think I'm ever really going to give anything a 0 on this channel. I'll give it a 1 out of 5. Nothing special. And remember, my ranking scale is from Microwave Massacre bad to Return of the Living Dead good. So, yes, 1 through 5 is what this flick gets. Other than that, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Forrest Gump, So, yeah, I'm going to go to work, get out, go to a little bonfire with some friends tomorrow, and do a little collaboration with Nick Baker tomorrow as well. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, enjoy some horror flicks. Just because October is over doesn't mean we can't still watch some good films. Blood, Guts, Gore. I'll check you guys next time.